This is Too Long for a Voice Note, a podcast about everything and nothing at the same time, presented by Claire
and Enzo. Our podcast is produced in London. Some conversations are just too long for a voice note.
Hey, he's Enzo.
And she's Claire.
And this is Too Long for a Voice Note.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another new episode of Too Long for a Voice Note.
How are you, Enzo?
I'm alright, Claire. How are you?
I'm
How
fine,
are you
thank
enjoying
you.
it? While we're talking, like we're having like a
know.
little mental breakdown. We are not. We swear to you.
The last few days of summer, I have to say that I'm very glad to
Intense.
see the back of August.
August is always like a thing, right? It's a very emotional month of thing. There's always a lot of things coming up.
Conflict.
Like I told you, I have this, a person that I know back in Venezuela that she has a book that talks about
Endlessly
Endlessly August. It's about like a poetry book about that, by the way. Just
Yeah,
dropping
little
a
plug.
fact. But yeah, I think a lot of people feel like August can be a bit intense.
I can't stand it.
yeah.
Every August I'm like, why?
But I'm sure we're trying our best to enjoy the nice weather we're having in London. That it's
Positive.
not cold,
Yeah,
it's a bit sunny.
exactly.
Last week, by the way, we went to like a boat party. Not like anyone cares, but if you ever think about going to a boat party,
Do it.
I think, yeah, it was like a boat party that you found. It's like a dancing gay community.
Yeah. They're like,
thing
they do dance classes
Dance
for
classes, yeah.
people from the LGBT community.
Yeah.
So they did this boat party. We organised it for our friend Franco's birthday.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was really fun,
I've never
right?
been in like a boat party. I think in London that's a thing.
On the Thames.
Yeah, and it was actually very fun. I thought it would be a bit cringy, but it was actually really a lot of fun. It felt cool.
I felt a bit seasick. Did you feel a bit seasick
At the
times?
beginning, yeah.
I had to find my
felt a
sea
bit-
legs a bit.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think it's weird right now, but I felt good after. At the beginning, I was a bit like, oh, because like seasick is a thing. But yeah, if you ever need to have a plan, I think a boat party is a nice idea. Actually, I'm surprised.
because it's just like a party, but in a different kind of setting, you know.
But I feel like we may feel like trapped for 4 hours there. Like, what are you gonna do?
But we
Like,
wanted longer,
just-
didn't we? We
Yeah.
wanted to go. We could have partied for longer.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun.
I never, at any moment, I didn't want to like jump out. So that's
No, exactly. It was really pretty as well because it was like golden hour and everything.
And also August in London again.
Yeah,
trying to make
exactly,
the positives
for
out
sure,
of August.
for sure.
But yeah.
But yeah, so for those
So
of
this
you,
week, what?
I
I was already cutting you. I was like, what is she saying now? Like, I thought we were over with this conversation. Man being man, right? It's like, what does she want to say now? Like, God.
how dare she be speaking? I was gonna say, for those of you that are new here, please remember to subscribe.
Oh, please,
like, share with your friends.
Please comment. Why is it so difficult for people to comment? Do you think they're afraid? Or maybe they're too lazy? Just
Yeah, I
comment
think maybe
something.
lazy. But anyway, please do remember to,
Yeah.
turn those notifications on. Everything. Please also follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
We're trying to get to 1,000
Yes.
followers. That's our aim. So please.
We're close.
We
but
are.
please,
We are.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Help us.
Well, with that being said, I think it's my week this week, right?
It is your week.
So it's time for Claire's secret topic of the week.
Claire, what's your topic this week? I'm
Okay,
curious
well,
to know.
this is something that's been bobbing around my mind for a couple of weeks.
For a couple of words. Like, why you're speaking different around the world? Like, what is the topic about?
I think I feel a bit nervous.
I'm my voice out of nowhere. It's like, okay. You know when you're super nervous and your
I think
voice
I'm
starts to
nervous.
go to all the
I think I'm a bit nervous. I don't know.
So what's in your brain for a couple of weeks now?
So, oh my god, the sound thingy is going mental on here.
Sorry guys, if you hear
sorry, but like turn the volume down. So this is kind of like based, I'm not going to go into like too many details. This is based off of like something that I'm working on in therapy.
Okay.
And also conversations with friends as well. I want to talk about parents and kind of like, is it possible for us to not become our parents?
Oh.
So,
that's
like I
interesting
say,
topic.
Dense, right?
Dance, but
Dance.
by interesting dance.
Dance.
August. again.
August, Leo season, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Not becoming our parents.
not
What a
becoming
good
our
question.
parents, and I think that's pretty much like the question. We can
Yeah.
go into more about what I've been discovering in therapy.
I would like to know, yeah.
If that is something that you're interested in. But what are your thoughts on that initially, little Enzito?
You know, that automatically made me think about this saying that we always say, or people say, like, oh, I'm turning into my mother, oh, I'm turning into my father, when we are getting older and we have these new weird habits and we're trying to do things like let's say, older people, you know, like, oh, this is something my mom will say or do, and I'm doing it now. I feel it's kind of like, I don't know why, sometimes I feel like maybe it's becoming like a stigma for us, and we're always kind of like, I don't know if it's like, it's an idea that it's being really forced into us that we all will become our parents, we want it or not, and it's kind of like we always kind of expecting that to happen, and we kind of go with it. You know what I mean?
I get you. Like
it's kind of like something that it's been like, yeah, that will happen.
Right.
And it become like a something like culturally natural, accepted, and we always say in the kind of
like a cliche kind of thing. Like people say like to a guy, "Oh, be careful that her mum is hot because she's going to turn into her mother." Kind of vibe.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So it made me think about that, like how much we just assume that, or like it's on us, and we always kind of like waiting for it to happen culturally, and well, there's sometimes.
But do you think that? Do you think have you noticed that in yourself, like you becoming your parents?
I don't know if I feel that. I do feel like I do have way of let's not say issues, but let's say like things in my personality or my way to react or blah 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 that I can spot on my parents.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like,
would you like to share any of that?
And
it's like, no, I won't, you little demon.
No, actually, I don't feel that. Let me think if I can come up with a concrete example. I think it's a few things, and like, for example, I don't know if it's like sometimes, for example, if you are processing or trying to understand why you feel some certain type of way or how you react to things, and kind of you can put it together because it comes from your parents. So I don't know, like sometimes I feel like, I don't know, for me it could be a bit difficult to express my feelings in a way. I think I do express my emotions, but in ways that are a bit like in a creative way, I would like to describe
I think
them.
You're more of a shower than a teller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't be like, because I feel like it's a bit tiring even for me to go deeper into my emotions.
There's a fly. The fly's like, I'm out of here.
Out. So sometimes I feel it can be a bit difficult for me to go into my emotions that easily, and sometimes I think that that may come from my dad, maybe because my dad was really reserved emotionally, so most likely it comes from that, even though I do not think I am like him in that way. But I guess it's not like we find someone to blame, but I think obviously we were raised by these people, and those values, way of seeing life, way to acting, they're being like pushed into us. So if we want it or not, we will have things.
Because I think the thing is, like, I think when you have a baby, that baby is obviously has, I guess it's that classic like nature versus nurture thing. Like there will be some things that are just like predisposed on that baby, but then everything else is just like layered on that baby. So it's kind of like when you are in your 30s, like looking to understand where something has come from, it's probably a safe bet to kind of assume that it has come from your parents somehow, because most things are kind of like learned behaviors, right?
Especially because we learn so many things when we are little, and if we are around our parents in that age, because some people they don't. But if you are around your parents at that age, I think everything that it's on you probably come from them. Recently on therapy, have you like find something that blew your mind?
I had a breakthrough.
Have you have like a breakthrough?
I have had a breakthrough, and so thank you for asking.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
No.
But what's been your breakthrough? What's been that about?
Basically, this was like quite an overshare, right? Doesn't it? But I'm like, I don't know why my voice is going so British all of a sudden. Like, I'm like a British man that can't express his feelings.
No offense to any British man.
No offense. Well, I guess something for me is that, and so will know very well, is that I am a person who seeks a lot of reassurance, especially, pretty much only actually in romantic relationships, not really with my work or anything else, friendships. I'm very confident with that. But with romantic relationships, I need a lot of reassurance. And it's something that has been bothering me. And I have wondered where that has come from. And I think it, for whatever reason, like obviously not throwing shade at anybody at all, but that was something that I didn't actually get a lot as a child. And I think that's kind of interesting, that thing that I haven't got, I've then become an adult that kind of seeks that a lot. And I think I've gravitated towards people, I said this to you the other day, like who, like you, that are very reassuring. I go for people that are very like emotionally, I find I'm more comfortable with people who are more nurturing in a way.
Like, are you using me, Claire? This is a breakthrough of our
friendship now. He's purely there for reassurance.
Yeah, sure, that's
nothing else. The rest of it, I just
my breakthrough of today.
Exactly. But yeah.
Interesting. I guess we always are. I mean, it's kind of like the kid inside of ourselves is always going to be there. Now we need to solve those issues we had as a kid, right?
For sure.
So you feel like all these things that you lacked, well, not all these things, but at least in the reassurance part of things, that's where comes this thing nowadays that you're looking for in the...
I guess so. I think
in
that...
a romantic love relationship.
Yeah, I think it probably comes from... I guess I can kind of pinpoint moments in my childhood where it came from, but I think also... It's like, I think I've kind of, which we all will do, like, you know, you watching and listening, like, and you as well, like my therapist explained to me something very interesting that was about coping mechanisms. So for example, I have developed some coping mechanisms, for example, seeking reassurance from people that I trust. That one isn't like that unhealthy, but there may be others that, you know, are not as kind of ideal. So part of my therapy homework for this week is to be like, when those things that I do kind of flare up, just say, thank you so much, you've served me really well, but we don't need you anymore because now I'm an adult, so I've got this, it's okay. And I thought that was really cute because it's
very interesting.
Basically you're parenting yourself.
And I
think...
Taking care of your... inner kid, basically.
Because I think I don't know what you think, this is maybe a bit philosophical or psychological, but I think do you become the parent that you didn't have?
Wow.
Do you think?
It's a really good point. I do believe, like, if you're lucky enough to encounter or to find these tools while getting an adult, you may do it, you know, because I feel a lot of people there, for reasons, they don't have the tools to have these processes because maybe the environment they are, maybe the economical reasons, or maybe the personality, they don't allow them to get to this point of, oh, like you are now to, oh yeah, I'm figuring out the thing. Some people, they never have that breakthrough.
Yeah, you're right.
So I guess if you have that, and if you have the opportunity to have this, I think it's possible for you to kind of like make it up for yourself, kind of thing.
Like unwire it.
Like, oh, and now that you have this information, that you told me this information, I can like, oh, wow, maybe I can think about these moments maybe when I was a kid that I had like something lacking and be like, oh, let me see how can I turn around and like kind of fits that part of me there, which I think is much what therapy is, right? Like kind of like fits in these little things. Because I think it's more common, like the parent, the dad is the one who leaves, or the one who's not present, the one who's in a great job. And I think I heard many times men being, oh, I want to have a kid to be the parent that I didn't have, kind of thing. Like they use, like they think, or they use the fact that they could be fathers to kind of like fix the relationship they didn't have with their parents. So I think that's kind of like that in a way. But I don't know if it's that healthy, because I don't know if that always works out that well. But I think there's a way to solve it. Well, I do think it's better to solve it like with yourself.
Exactly, rather than having a kid.
To have a kid and do it through that. But obviously that's not my place to say, of course. But yeah, I do feel it can be possible. I do feel if you have the tools, if you have the right position, if you want to as well, I think. But it's a lot of work.
But I think I mean more about like not becoming an actual parent, but about reparenting yourself, like that kind of thing. I don't know if that... I think it can be possible, right? Because I think I think most people's issues maybe, or for example, if I look at it in my case with like the lack of reassurance, for example, I think you go and seek what you didn't have, and it can either go, you know what I mean, like. I think that's true. Yeah,
it's kind of like, because I guess you're seeking for that because obviously you didn't have it, but now that you're aware of it, you can maybe have it in a good way, or in a positive way, or find ways to kind of like
for example, if a woman doesn't have like a great relationship with the dad, and then she ends up like going for men that are not ideal because it's like trying to like fix that classic thing, like, or a son with a mother, like it's kind of like fixing that relationship kind of thing. You kind of like, I think as humans, like we're constantly trying to fix that, but we might not be aware of it. So I think that's where therapy is good, because it literally just makes you aware of it, and then you can make a choice.
It's kind of interesting. I do think maybe it's possible, again, if you are willing to, your personality allows you. I think it's a lot of things that do you feel like, if for example, I don't know, do you feel like it's very like therapy session, you feel it's maybe like no, do you only your case, but overall like if you get like a late reassurance in your life, how that works? For example, if you didn't get enough reassurance from your mom, do you think if you get it now, it will help you to navigate the issues?
From my mom, from the same person kind of thing? I don't know, because like...
Or is it like too late now kind of thing?
That's a good, really interesting question, because I think that I would probably say it is a bit late in a way, because I think that would always be great, right? And you should always probably take even the most broken of relationships. I think you can try to fix them over time, but I feel like something that I've learned from like people that we've spoken to is like the damage is kind of already done, and it was done because like you need different things in different points in your life, right? So what I need now is different from what like my younger self, my child self needed. So I think it's kind of like, and the same with you, like it's kind of like, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all, because I truly believe that we can like, obviously I wouldn't have been doing therapy for so many years if I didn't believe that you could change yourself and like change what doesn't feel like you want to carry it through your life and stuff. But I think that it's like, I think it's like a thing that you will always carry if you didn't get it as a child, that will always flare up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Definitely,
and it will be great to like get that from that parent that was sort of lacking later on down the road, but it probably won't do much. But it might make you feel like, okay, cool, like we did our best, like I'm cool with you, kind of thing, you know?
I guess if it's, for example, if it come from reassurance, and if you get the reassurance later in life, maybe if it's that the topic, maybe it could maybe be easier, because it's kind of like, if you understand why you didn't get the reassurance when you were a kid, but you get it now because now you're both adults, maybe you can actually like kind of thing, because you'll be like, oh, I understand it now and I'm getting it now from you. So maybe, but if it's something else that it's not reassurance, I think it's harder, kind of like, I don't know. I mean, well, I guess lack of love or something could come hand to hand, but no, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a bit tricky to...
And I think it's like, you know, with your case, for example, of like, you feel maybe that it's difficult for you to like express emotion sometimes. Like, is that something that you actively try to challenge in your life? Like, do you... This is literally like therapy with Claire and Enzo.
You're welcome, guys.
This is us in the pandemic in 2020, drunk on the sofa. Literally. But like, do you feel that's something that you try to...
I think lately I am, and I think lately because I think I'm trying to spot the things on my parent that I'm not comfortable with. Well, my dad is different because he's not here anymore, so it's just based on memories, let's say. But my mom, thankfully, is here, so I cannot like see which of those things they're not things that I like and things that I may have and I need to change. And I think it's kind of like refreshing when you can spot where things come from in that way, like when they come from your parents, for example, like
it's like saying fuck, it's not me, it's you.
I
want right off with that.
I don't want to come in that way, exactly. I didn't want to be like, all my problems are not me, are my parents, which I mean, most of them they probably are. Most of our issues come from our childhood, well, there you go. But obviously not in that tone of like, oh my god, I'm being rated now. It's more like when you can like maybe draw a line and see where it comes from, and kind of like also like you understand more your parent, and then you are like, oh, I have that, but then I can work with me. But this is a lot of work. It's a lot of like sitting with yourself and thinking, and sometimes you don't want to do it, or sometimes you want to avoid that, you know, like, or sometimes I think it's easier to believe and think things are the way they are and that's it, than sitting with that and kind of like try to fix it for yourself. But I think the lesson is like, definitely sit with things, because like then you live a life just assuming that it is where it is keep going with that.
Exactly. There's something about with therapy that is just by understanding, I think, why your parents are, or understanding why people are the way they are. It doesn't mean that you have to forgive them, or ideally you would forgive them, but like, it doesn't mean that you need to excuse, for example, dating someone, you don't need to excuse their horrible behaviour. But having some understanding, especially with your parents, because they're always going to be there. They're always going to be your parents, unlike friends, like dating people, etc.
Yeah. They never stop being your parents, of course.
Understanding kind of why are you the way that you are really has helped me to kind of soften my experience of them, and I think you too as well. And I think that's where therapy's great, because it's not there's nothing really groundbreaking about therapy if you think about it. It's just
a lot of understanding the way you feel things,
because or they didn't turn out that way.
It feels
exactly
right? Your feelings.
Because you have to think they were raised somehow, and I think ultimately like I often think like people were probably just doing the best that they could.
Of course, most likely. Just to kind of like wrap up the topic. Like, it's not my topic, I'm wrapping it up, Claire.
Like, I'm done.
Because enough for like a therapy session. It's too long for a therapy session.
Too long for that.
I'm not getting paid for this. No, like, have you ever felt, there's like a moment you can recall where you were like in fear, or like, oh my God, I'm turning my parent, I'm turning my mom, I'm turning my dad. Have you had that moment that you feel like, oof, oh my God, this is kind of making me feel like I'm turning into them?
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. And that made me...
Do you want to share a bit of which moment it was, or is it too personal? If it's too personal, it's fine. But it's interesting that you felt...
Okay, yeah, I can share something about then, like one of my parents, I can have a bit of a habit to kind of completely shut people out. Like, I used to be, which I think you'd find surprising, because I think... we both met different versions of each other than when we were younger. Thank God. Like, I'm grateful for that, because like I was not easy, I think, as like a teenager in early 20s because of my past, right? Yeah. So I think I was dating somebody who was a lovely person. He's still an amazing person. We ended up being in a relationship for like 7 years. He's a great person. But whenever I would really struggle, like my way was I just had no way of like communicating that you were like disappointing me or I was just now I think fucking hell, like
who's that?
Who is that? And I would just be like, no, block, meh. And of course he was, God knows why, but he was obviously very patient with me. He was very good with his emotions, actually like taught me a lot about that. And that was something that I recognized from one of my parents, that I thought, I really don't want to be like that. I don't want that. I don't want to have the regret of losing this amazing person, and friendships as well. And that was a point where I was like, no, something has to be done.
Really good.
So
really good that you have that breakthrough as well to do it. But again, it's kind of like a personality thing, a situation thing, because a lot of people think they're just gonna put that under a rock and be like, oh, this is who I am, you are who you are, fuck it, everything. But it's kind of like, it's
and
interesting. I think I can I think I can't recall any moment now, like specifically like that. But I would definitely think about it if I can have like a moment of being like, I'm becoming my parents. Like,
I wonder with you.
I have no something. I don't know if I have something like on top of my head that it would be that bad or that strong to think that. But I will definitely think about it. I will come back to you with it.
Okay, I was going to suggest one for you, but I think that's a bit harsh.
Like, you know your problems. I see all of them from far.
Because sometimes I feel that you're around kids quite strict. Like, I feel you would be a strict dad, for example.
But I think it's something that's me.
Do you think that's you? Do you think that came from your dad? Because obviously I didn't know your dad, obviously, but I wonder if... But you think that's just... And so I just don't really like kids, to be honest.
Because, for example, my mom is not like that.
No, because your mom's so cute and everything. Yeah.
I mean, she was strict in her own ways, but not really that strict.
Okay.
And I think my dad was... I don't know if he was that strict, to be honest. Okay. I mean, he was not communicative, which is different. He was not really good with communication.
Okay, but not strict, like...
No, because my mom was the one ruling everything. So it wasn't him. He was never being like, oh, you cannot do it, you know? In the case, it would be my mom. But I wouldn't consider my mom being strict around kids. Okay. So maybe this is just my shit, you know? Again, you know, like, there's some shit that we have. Like, not everything's on parents. I get it. I could think about it. Like, now that you tell me that, I would be like, oh, where'd that come from that?
Yeah.
And I am. I'll be like, you little kid, please. Like, there's no time. It's no place for fun here. Fun, it's not nice.
I think you're very, like, on a mission as well sometimes. And kids don't really, like... play into that well. So yeah,
that's interesting. I will reflect on that definitely. But
he's gonna remember this now. Like, do you remember that one time you said that I'm strict? Like.
Be ready, because once you have kids, it won't be like fun time.
I'll be like, Uncle Ansa. They'll be like, no, I don't want to leave Mommy.
We like him, Mom, but
he's so strict.
Like today we're learning piano. We're painting today. You're gonna like, please no, we want to have fun. But interesting. I will definitely think about it.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening.
You.
And
please remember to what we said before: like, subscribe, share, like everything. Blah 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 blah. Share this with someone. I think that will be helpful for them. Like I think it's a conversation for some people.
For sure.
I think hopefully will help someone to be like, oh, click.
Yeah, definitely.
So, thank you.
Well, bye guys.
See you. Bye bye.